awareness. Now in this video, we're going to talk about why observational awareness is key to having good personal safety, in that it helps you be able to determine things that look out of place, potential dangers, potential threats, and be able to react to them before it encounters you. And we're going to also talk about ways in which you can develop good observational awareness. Now, until the next video, please be safe.
All right, now, before we start, let's read a quote by Yogi Berra. Now, he says, "You can observe a lot by just watching." Now, this is so true, my friends. Now, why is observational awareness and having good observation skills so important? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but simply, it is the cornerstone of having a good personal safety plan. Now, just think of it like this. You know how they say the eyes are the windows to your soul? Well, think of it like this: is your observational awareness is the windows to the world around you. Or should I say, your observational awareness is the windows to the world around you. So just imagine for a moment if you weren't able to see things. You weren't able to see what's around you. Imagine what kind of position that would put you in. So think of it on terms like this, that you want to always look ahead, look around. You always want to be observant. Why is that so important? Well, think of it like this, that what that does is, by you being observant, you can see things, you can see potential threats or possibly a potential unfolding attack before it's able to get close enough to affect you. Now, if you're really observant and you're really paying attention, like things we're going to talk about later on in some of the other videos, like situational awareness, and like while you're walking and driving, and how you always want to look out ahead, because the further out that you're paying attention, the more buffer zone is going to give you to be able to react to some type of an attack, or if you see a potential threat building. Now, why is that important? It's because of this, that if somebody's intending on attacking you, they know they're going to attack you. So what does that mean? That means that you're at a disadvantage because you have to react off of their movement and off of their attack. So that means you got to depend on your reflexes. Now, if you're being distracted completely and you're not even observing what's going on, then it's even worse. So that's why it's important that you practice good observational awareness, because if you can see things around you and away from you, it'll give you enough time to be able to either react to that attack or threat or totally avoid it altogether. And you know, the better part is the latter version, which is, hey, avoid it altogether. Why put yourself at a risk of having to respond to a physical attack when you can avoid it altogether? And you know, that's kind of like the whole premise of this video, of all these videos that you're gonna be watching in this series, that avoidance is much better than having to react. All right, so let's talk about where to look. The example I'm going to use is going to be basically a person. But where do people like to go? Okay, where are people at? People are in vehicles, people are in buildings, people are in open spaces, walking around the mall, wherever. So people that are going to be the threats against you are going to be in those places as well. So, but what you want to do when you're looking at a person, okay, like this guy in the picture, is the first thing you always want to do is you want to look at the hands. Look at the hands, because the hands are the most dangerous thing, because they are either going to kill you by themselves or they're going to hold something like a weapon that can kill you. So always watch the hands. When you see somebody that's a potential threat, where are their hands at? Are their hands visible? Are they in their pockets? Are they in a bag? Are they behind their back? Where are the hands? Because, like I said, that's what's going to kill you. Next thing you want to do is you want to look at the waistband area. Look around where their belt's at. Look for anything that looks unnatural, anything that sticks out underneath their shirt. This is pretty easy if they're just wearing a t-shirt and jeans. But when they're wearing a jacket like this guy, it's a little bit more difficult. But you just always kind of want to look at, if you see any bulges. And another thing you can do too is, are they kind of holding their arms down around their waist, like they're protecting that area, like they don't want people to see, the bulge sticking out of their shirt because maybe they're uncomfortable because they put their handgun in incorrectly. So just kind of look at those kind of mannerisms, like, do they look uncomfortable? So the next area that you want to look at is pockets. Now, here you got the suit coat. How many pockets do you think are in a jacket like this? Tons of pockets. Okay, you have inner pockets, outer pockets, and how deep do suit coat pockets go? Or somebody has a winter jacket, or even a raincoat. Pockets are deep, and don't think for 1 second that somebody can't hide like some type of dangerous weapon in a pocket, because people can hide little small handguns, they can hide knives, they can hide all kinds of things inside pockets. One thing that people that carry weapons, especially bad guys, is they might even sew like extra pockets inside their jacket, like hidden pockets to hide more weapons. And just to piggyback off of what I just said, is a good rule of thumb is to always assume that if you see one weapon, that there's always going to be another one. And you might ask yourself, well, why is that important? Well, just imagine if, say, somebody approaches you and tries to attack you, and you happen to knock a weapon away that they might have had in their hands. Well, most likely they're going to have another one. So it helps you just be more prepared to deal with whatever kind of situation that might arise from a potential attack. So first thing we always want to do is what? Look at the hands. Then you want to scan the rest of the area. Now, I forgot to mention this, but just think if they have a backpack or a purse. Think of all the stuff that could be hidden inside those bigger areas. So always just watch those areas. The next thing we're going to do right here is we're going to do an observation exercise. Now, what you're going to have is a picture that's going to be shown to you of a street scene that can represent any street in America or any street in the world. And it's just going to be of just an average things that you might see. You're not looking for ninjas lurking in the shadows, or guns or knives or anything like that. Just an average street scene. And at the end of the 30 seconds, you're going to be asked 5 questions. And we'll see how many you can get correct. But good luck. All right, so let's answer question number 1. So the question is, how many people are on the street? There were 3 people. Number 2 is, what color is the trash can? The trash can is green. Number 3, what is the name of the restaurant with the green sign? It was Michael's Restaurant. Number 4, what is the name of the street? Broadway is the answer. And number 5, how many flags did you see? There were 3 flags. So let's talk about how we can develop these observation skills, because, it's very important. That's one of the most important keys to observation skills, is what? Developing them. So my favorite thing is to tell people to people watch. Now, this could be at the mall, it could be at the train station, it could be at the airport. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a place where there's a lot of people, where you can sit and not look at a place and look like a stalker. There's some place where you can sit, have a cup of coffee or have a bite to eat, and just watch people. And what are we looking for? What we're looking for is things like their mannerisms. Do they talk with their hands? How do they walk? Do they walk aggressively? Do they walk do they look athletic when they walk? Do they look powerful? Do they look fast? Are they limping around? Do they look handicapped? Do they look, those are the things that you want to look for. And what this does is it helps you kind of put this in your head to where, you walk into a room, you go into an area and you kind of look around, you see potential threat, and you kind of watch them and see how the mannerisms and how physically they look. And what it does is it helps you kind of store that in your memory to possibly use later on if this individual or individuals tries to confront you in some kind of way. So basically what it does is it just gives you a heads up on what to expect. So if you happen to see somebody and they're 200 pounds and powerful and they look very fast and very athletic, and then you already know that you might have a huge problem with that person. But on the other hand, you see somebody who's limping around, maybe they're very overweight, so you're assuming that they're you're assuming that they're slow, or maybe someone's in a wheelchair or in crutches, whatever. You can kind of have an idea of what to expect. But one thing to seriously take into consideration is the fact that you can't underestimate somebody who appears to be handicapped or physically challenged, because people like that know that they're at a disadvantage, so they're probably going to be it's more likely that they're going to probably carry some type of weapon to compensate for their injury or their physical limitations. So don't assume that just because you see somebody in that condition that they're not a threat, because that's not the case. One thing that I think is important that you should try to learn is how to lip read. And I learned how to do this when I worked as a corrections officer. And, I'd be behind the control panel looking out through the glass and seeing all the inmates. I got to the point where I can look at an inmate talking and I can actually put his voice into what I was seeing from his, him speaking through his lips. And I was able to kind of almost like hear him talk to me. And, you might say, well, why is this important? Well, think if you're out, at a restaurant with your significant other, your friends, or your family, and you happen to see a couple individuals sitting at a table when you first walk in, because you always want to scan the area looking for potential threats, and you see a couple individuals sitting at this table and they're looking kind of aggressive, looking around, and you just kind of notate, okay, well, those guys might be a threat. And then you happen to see one of them talking, and because you can read lips, you might be able to pick up on some type of clues, like maybe they say something like, well, here in about 5 minutes when the bartender turns his back, let's stand up with, let's rob this place. Or let's follow that couple out to the car when they get up and let's go rob them outside. So that's where lip reading kind of can possibly help you out and give you a little bit of an edge. And, plus, what? There's nothing wrong with having an extra tool to be able to throw in that toolbox. Before we go, let's go over the call to action. That these are some things that I really want you to start working on right now. Now, after you saw this video, hopefully you're thinking about how to look at things around you differently, especially when you're dealing with individuals, how to watch them. So first thing I want you to do is to start paying attention to everything around you more. Start picking up on things. Start looking at people. And then I want you to start looking at how people walk, how they act. Scan, where are their hands. Always be looking for their hands. Look at their waistband and pockets. Look and see if there's anything unnatural bulging out of those areas. Just the main thing, start paying attention and watching those hands. If you start doing that right now, it's going to get to the point where it's going to become natural to you. And like I said before, this is the cornerstone to having a good personal safety plan and having good awareness about yourself. So I hope you learned a lot from this video. Until the next video, please be safe.